Hey guys, I hope this is live and everything going okay. Double check. I hope you can hear me okay. That looks like. What's up, Efrain? How's it going, buddy? Hello. Well, from my studio, guys. Okay, so today, as I have discussed earlier, that in my posts, Efrain, if you can tell me, do I come through okay through the mic? There's any kind of noise besides my voice anywhere? Let me know if there is. On my end, it looks like it's. What's up, Chauncey? On my end, it looks like my voice coming through okay, but yeah. What's up, Justin Palmer? What's up, JP? Hey guys. So I did some studies today. It was a busy day, but I found a little bit of time carved out. Sounds okay. Okay, good. Hoping it's loud enough. Um, if not, I can fix that issue. Here we go. Could be a little louder. We'll see. Anyway, so I started off here, kind of. If I did any more, yeah, I did some of these here. Then started drawing a little smaller. I kind of enjoyed this pose a little bit. Guy here, so denim, right? And then I kind of moved on here. Tried some different ones, kind of hinting up somewhere, and then reverted back to the other one. Tried something different. I just don't want to have the same poses that this one didn't work out. So that one wasn't so bad, but I feel like at some point somewhere before I done. So I'm trying to refine this pose. Kind of like it. So I'm going to refine it a little bit here on a slightly larger thing. We can discuss the little bit of leg structure and stuff. Hey, what's up? Cole King, what's going on, Cole? Hi, buddy. Welcome. Glad you're here. Yeah, so here is, I just got a regular old piece of Bristol here. Draw on here in a minute. So from this little guy, refocus here real quick. No? Refocus. Come on. Sometimes cameras love doing things like this. All right. I'm gonna keep this here so it can stay in focus for a little bit. Okay, so I have that pose, and this is how I usually approach all this. I know that mostly kind of within this realm, body's kind of twisted downwards a little. Chest is going to be kind of here, the back. I wanted to kind of his back a little, muscles kind of tensed up, so the shoulders be here and one will be right here, so they kind of back a little bit, kind of pushed back. So his head, his neck is kind of forward here, so he's gonna be looking this way, and mouth will be right here. This, right? So that means his arm is pulled back here. Gonna have a little bit of it over there, kind of coming through. like if we can pull it this way. Palm here. So that said, tongue is something I would usually wait for a little bit later after I place my arms on my body and the legs and see how it looks. Hey, what's up? Extreme Maple's gonna, but and once I place that, welcome guys, welcome. I'm glad you're stopping by and hanging out with me here. So there's that little straight line here and then wraps around. So we know that it's gonna bend his body a little bit. Then this leg is gonna be kind of forward here. So this is where we're talking legs here a little bit, right? And then I'm gonna have gap because if we take his hips, so hips right here, you know the angle is pushing downwards. So we take that and say cut it this way. So that means this one is kind of being through this cone, and this one. So they're both kind of hidden slightly behind because it's wrapped around. So it's one of those things where usually you have this, then you know legs gonna come out of here, but in this case it's twisted downwards. So you're gonna see less of that, and his hips are gonna be into this kind of area of the cone. So legs are gonna come out awkwardly in towards here, towards you. And then another leg is gonna come out this way. Yeah, you know, then this one's gonna kind of come at you and then bend behind. So another tube's basically one tube, another tube going that way. Have toes. So what this is happens, and the calf is gonna have to take up some space, right? So that's why this is bent here. Then we have quad growing up. Then some of the roundness appears here, but mostly that's the calf. There's the foot. There's the hole. And then the body is here. So there's the crotch area. But that's just taking this and bending it forward. That's where you have to foreshorten, start playing around with what happens to the calf. Well, usually it flattens out here. See some of it over here, right? So let's play with that. Let's draw that. So he's looking this way. So here I'm trying to be lighter. And you know that this part comes in. There's the knee. And we have that muscle here, this muscle here on top. Some more, just to make him cooler, of course, you can add as many different extra muscles, striations you want to do. And so here, you just cut it off, right? So it's like there, right? This, the crotch area. Then we're gonna have that other leg pointing out this way. And we're gonna work with the arm here in a little bit. And that means we're gonna have a calf coming out right here a little bit, and see this one's just a little bit as well. Then we can just play with where we're gonna place that toe. Hold this up. Good. Faded. Right? Hopefully that, guys. A lot of shadow things is gonna play in. You know they always kind of hide his crotch a little bit. All the drawings you see. Then in the most of the drawings, you're gonna have to come out, like make it a little bigger, the legs, you know, because he's really always has a really thick muscles, thick body, which is kind of fun. Um, so, but with this leg here, okay. So we have the extended leg. The way I approach it anyway. So I have that. I usually give it a bulk curve over here on the outside. You know, this part right here is going to be on the inside. Everybody has this, especially when you're sitting down, you'll see it. But the more muscular, more pronounced this is, then you're going to have this really thin, extended part of the muscle here. Top, right here, and then in the knee here. Now, once you come in here, sorry, so let's extend, see how far you want it. So I'm going to say shin is going to be a little longer. Then we're going to bend the foot a little bit, right? Okay. So as we know, shorter calf on the inside, longer muscle on the outside. And with him, we can play even pushing further here. More defined. And then right here, there will be a muscle coming around this way. So that's what we're looking at. I'll separate toes a little bit. Stepping on something here. So this is what I'm looking at here. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. I heard Death had a near experience. That's what I heard too. Yeah, that's what I heard too today. Yeah. So yeah, so this muscle, this guy here, come around, this is the knee here. This gets really thin. This right here is kind of get thin too, but in different sense. Kind of wraps this way. This one wraps there. Kind of wraps around the knee here, kneecap, and then you have the you guys come through. A lot of times it's just this right here will sit away from the edge of the leg when you draw it. If you look at the realistic muscles anyway, but you can play with that and create. Well, these are a little bit of a tendon beginning of these muscles that will come out here. They'll add a nice little interesting extra lines and detail for you. I don't think you'll be able to see the glute here because of the angle, so I'm going to keep it this way. Keep them even, keep them thick, and in case anyway. There's longer muscle. And what you can do here is, you like this, but then you're like, okay, well, I want to kind of bend it. Kind of looks like it's going away a little bit behind something, so when he's sitting on something, pile or something, this thing kind of goes behind there. Then you can put a shadow on it, so you don't have to really draw as much detail, but that's another way of doing things. But I like the extended look here for no particular reason. Kind of a movement. Bends. Separate the toes a little bit and basically claws. Haven't really discussed what it's now, but I feel like it's going to be part of the of the building, some kind of griffin or something, kind of beast, bird or whatever. So kind of a top of the building thing going on here, just for the sake of exercise, you know. How's everybody else doing today? Hope you guys all good. Now, I'm gonna mess with these hands here. Yeah, so I had today was a bit of a long day. Had to keep clock for about 6 volleyball games. Then me and my wife drove out and had a little fish. Fish for dinner. You've been to Hideaways, you know. Good place. Then drove back just in time for me to walk the dog and get this started. Make sure everything checked out and the StreamYard was updated. Whatever, OBS Studios, I mean. So right here, where I'm starting to kind of figure out the rest of the anatomy here. There's this. I feel like his body turned more this way. Then this goes back that way. So that would be the rib cage. Rest. Then we can do the abs and kind of bent up. Do some of the shot. So now I'm thinking, you know, where would I put this arm? And shoulders seem to have good shape. Have it. I feel like I'm gonna go almost full stand here. So the arm here, tube there, and this. Here. Yeah, that's a kind of a neat pose. Kind of enjoying this. That means this right here, this can go farther out. Guy, here almost. Bring that a little bit. That went out too far. There we go. That makes sense to me. Kind of good with that, and we're gonna kind of bug thing. Yeah. Also for this is being a rough draft kind of gives me a sense of where if it's going in the right direction or not. And right here, for example, this is maybe this is great right here. I like this. I like this. You know, I like the how the calf muscle turning out here. Okay, it's good. And I'm not gonna lie, I've seen some covers lately, and I was just like, it saddens me that some artists don't check anatomy very well and turning in work, and it's just I don't know. I guess being an artist, fine artist in me, just kind of upsets me a little bit. But this right here is good, good enough. But I want to point the other way a little bit, even though you know you can have that there and then foot turn this way. Just ever so slightly. Make it look like he's pushing off of it to throw some weight that way. So he's pushing away, holding them up this way, which helps the figure stand stronger a little bit on the surface of something. Because feeling like having this foot this way make him almost feel more falling over, but in this case, putting a foot this way a little bit more, twisting it, he's more supported in there. Okay, and then all the details will come later. Okay, so we discussed some of the leg, right? Let's finish discussing the rest of the leg here, leg structures. Yo, what's up, Mr. SOkoLOv? Hey, what's going on, Charlie? That's one of my students. So let's talk about another aspect of the leg. Let's just full structure, right? So take this leg. What is going to be here, right? Chin, bone here, fibula tibia, which is the sternum. I'm not sure. Foggy on the anatomy. I'm gonna take a David Finch thing to here and say, I remember what it looks like. I just don't remember the names. And then you got a little, triangle here, kind of. But big toe is gonna be here since this is the inside of the leg. So we know this line right here is separating this tendons and muscles here. So this muscle here, right here at the top. But it also comes from here, right? It comes from here, kind of touches there, and then you have these quad big muscles, right? Attaching. It can be thinner, depends on what shape the person is in or whatever, right? Kneecap, simply, usually, this is the shape we take, cap and all. This usually folds over on top of it if it's just standing there, right? This right here, if you're flexing it, there will be this divot as well, right? If you're flexing that, if you relax, it will just disappear and just lay almost flat here. So then this wraps around there, around this whole bone and part. This, most of the time, depends on the development of this muscle. It will just sit inside the line of the leg right here, and this just goes straight here. Then this kind of comes into the calf here, and we'll discuss that's the shorter, this is longer one. Then there's on top muscles right here, the ones that give you shin splints that you don't want. Hey, what's going on, Rick? Welcome, buddy. I don't know if you guys can see very well or not, but so this depends on athletics, how athletically developed the body is, but this is talking muscles in it. So this is here, yes, and then there's this right here. There's a muscle as well, right around the bone. You will see a lot of times get a little extra development, right? So this right here, inside ankle, is not going to be as far protruding or as low. So let me bring this up. So it's going to be up here a little bit more. This one, after all that, it's going to bring down a little bit and stick out a little farther. Right? And then, of course, you have the tendons, toes. All that. Draw over here with a big pencil. But, the foot. All right. All that, right? Ankle here. There we go. Is that? So I drew the bone structure a little bit here just to help me. And toes in the foot. There are simpler ways to approach that. For the foot thing, it's for me is like depends on the angle. Say I kind of draw one longer, one for the heel, one larger for the front of the foot, and then I'm just gonna do that. So that kind of gives me, you know, what am I drawing, you know, boot or whatever. It kind of gives me a little bit of guidance of some sort. Anyway, um, like a leg for real. Oh, thanks, Charlie. So yeah, that's the basic part here. And I don't have reference pulled up or anything. I'm just kind of going off of memory a little bit here, as much as I can remember. So we turn around, right? So muscles. So there's the hip. Legs and attached there, right? That's gonna be the back here. Now reverse. This is gonna be shorter. This is gonna be longer. You're gonna have that, and you can draw however length you want. Like shorten it. You know, it depends on what kind of characters you guys drawing. You can go taller, longer, shorter, wider, thicker, thinner. And then, you know, once again, inside, outside. Achilles, foot. Kind of turn that towards that angle, kind of helped it out a little bit. There. This. A lot of times you just see that, and then the hemi and that, that. A lot of tendons here. This one right here. And gluteus max. All right. So discuss some of the legs, guys. Hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of a perspective on what you can do with the leg, you know, bending, throwing. All right. So got the prelim here. Got the mini prelim that I liked, went bigger, worked it out. That's my usual process actually. And then either take a picture, I take a picture or scan it if I have a scanner. Otherwise, I'll take a picture. Except I'm doing this for a sketch cover right here. So I printed it out after I did the sketch. And I'm just going to use that to kind of either transfer or do something like that with the sketchbook. I mean, comic book sketch cover on it. All right. So with that said, move to main event, right? I have my rough over here. Here. That's out. Probably move the camera over. Okay. So I'm going to try to go ahead and use pencil I've been using. So it's a little darker, so it will show better. Not like I'm inking today. I love these pencils. I got hold of a few of them a long time ago in my classroom, and there's so many like little ones left of them, and I love the thick lead of it. And I found them on eBay, and I bought me a pack that was the only one available out there. Wallace found it, Young Rider 265. Great pencils. You can do any kind of artistic approach, really, you feel like. All right. So same, once again, I'm trying to develop the chest here, right? So I know it's going to be twisted and going that way, right? So I know that these muscles. Gonna tap into the shoulders. Right. Got these collarbones, right? Sorta. Bring them down a little bit. So the neck. Then I have the neck here. This. That kind of gives me the middle here. So I place those things, right? Place those things. Kind of play with the rest of it. So middle and the middle, right? Trying to shrink it. Here. Page, all that. What's up, Dennis? Hey, welcome, buddy. Got me. Yes, you sure did. Classes in session. I hear you on that. I'm trying. So there I go here. There we go. Talking here. So yeah, placing this now, kind of trying to see what this leg is gonna come out this way. Trying to play with the size too, so it's not, you know, don't get carried away here. Like I said, guys, do not be afraid to kind of play with what you want them to look like. So this. Is going to end up over here. Yeah, let me place the camera for you guys a little. Good to have you here, man. Glad you made it, buddy. So yeah, there's that shoulder, kind of goes into here. Of course, the bicep, elbow. There's this arm. Because this arm is going to come all the way from here. Basically, he's pulled back, you know, so the hand is going to be somewhere right here. Then, you know, start placing things a little bit. Putting the bulky pieces first, so we know what's where. And some imaginary extra muscles and such. We feel like, but mostly human. And if you, like, for example, sometimes my angle determines one thing, but I like to draw more comfortably in a different angle. So, and I know what it looks like that angle a little bit better. But for a shortened bicep here, there's that. Thin it out a little bit. It's good for studies to do this here. Now, I drew this because, yeah, it gets up there. But when you start extending things a little bit, you might want to wrap it this way because this is going back. So this is going to sit on top. There. I'm working on my hand here now. So I know I'm going to only see this part. Kind of disappears. Then pinky right here will come through. And I like that for interest. Okay. So you can see. So my imagination works where I feel like this phalange come out this way. This is going to be more prominent and visible as it's side of the hand. And of course, straightened out the thumb. Then this one's going to come out a little bit seen here because middle finger is larger. This one disappears completely behind here. And then the pinky is out. Kind of, you know, see a little bit of the pinky there. But it's foreshortened, so it's going away from us. In any case, try to create all kinds of cool looking fun muscles here. Don't have to be, it's venom. You don't have to go too crazy anatomical, but I mean, you can. Here, I am bringing this lat right into here in the back. So yeah, looks practically in the right place. There's this, right? No, it's gonna cut a little bit shorter. Shoulder. So as of right now, it looks anatomically right to me. Alan Davis makes great hands positions. Alan Davis. I'm gonna have to see who that is. Appreciate you bringing that up. Am I correct, guys, that I've just recently heard, like right before the stream, found out that the artist creator of Max, the comic Max, and the co-creator of the Sandman passed away. Is that true, or Bill's hidden camera? Sorry. So there's this, that. So I'm gonna move this out a little bit this way, and I'm gonna get rid of this part here. So this is another twist here. So this right here, as good as this looks, but if I'm gonna turn this foot like this, I might want to move this leg out a little bit instead of, you know, keeping it here, so it kind of shifts out that way. I'll say he's wrapping around this rounded area, so that down this way. Yeah. That's true. 2026 needs to slow down its roll. Yeah. Yeah. A friend of mine messaged me earlier. I was like, oh no. And you will see like some artists do a lot of extra with his muscles and such. But yeah. Play it off this way. Not any bird known to man anyway. So, but we're gonna make it look like it's, you know, made of stone. This is a pencil study anyway, and I'm not gonna overdo it with inks later. Maybe, I don't know. Well, I'll think about it though. This, and like I said, angle kind of helpful here. Put some kind of turns, twists here in the muscle, and you know, add things that should or shouldn't be there, but kind of look cool. And he's flexing, so I'm gonna add that. A little more movement. Like I say, it's thicker character, so okay to add a bit of bulky muscle to him. Boy. Something like that. You know, something like this. Sit now. But it's gonna be, you know, a statue, whatever, attached to the building that as we think anyway. Look at my phone real quick. I'm gonna confirm this whole thing. But it says from Bleeding Cool. I don't know who that is, but posted. Sam Keith, creator of Max and co-creator of Sandman, comic book writer, artist, painter, and publisher, has died at the age of 63. R.I.P. That's Sam Keith, man. Big time. All right, so one thing here. Like, and I love the way I drew that on it. Kind of right. Some things can always be fixed. Had it changed, and made it look better. I like the way he looks in my prelim, and some things over here don't add up. This now it's starting to. There we go. Push this hand far back. I give this arm a little more length. Let's compartmentalize here real quick. That's one thing about this pencil, it's hard to erase all of it. So messy. I think I'm gonna pick a different pencil next. Most likely different paper. That's a lot of times materials make me mad, man. They don't work very well. So whoever says to you, "Oh, materials don't matter," bunch of crap. You want your work to look professional, use more professional material. Oh wow, that's the 15th. I didn't even see that. That sucks. Yeah, it is, man. Definitely is. So shoulder, I had shoulder come out a little bit more, and arm farther as well. Then the hand kind of foreshortened. There we go. That works much better to me. Yeah, it sucks to legendary artists passing away like that. Some of us never even got to meet them. That's why I'm glad I went to OAX and met some of these guys that, well, they're still kind of young, and I can pick their brains still and hang out and talk and see what's up and get to know them a little bit. Okay. There's here. Get this arm kind of finished up a little bit. So now this is gonna bring here. This is just all that. This part. Bicep. Tricep here. These. And a couple of my sketch covers came in. for Lobo, so I'm going to be starting to sketch those soon. Use that as my warm-up slash relax pieces. I love the pose you have seeing it from the beginning to the shapes come together in real time. Thank you, buddy. Thanks. Appreciate that, Dennis. Yeah, it's fun kind of getting it from beginning to end. It's not a lot of you guys get to see a lot of this stuff. Kind of see the like little rough sketches from somebody, and then kind of like, oh, whoa, then just start drawing the main thing, and not a lot of actual development into it. That's why I'm trying to make this solo experience more of that. Let's get to the 3D details and see what we can come up with. And something that may help some of you guys, hopefully. One, I gotta catch up on the cover piece, Ripperverse, and work with some other commissions. And then we're gonna have our usual stream tomorrow night with the guys. Nerdy musings and post it, of course. On my oak a Sunday sketch cover after watching the Sunday streams. I think I might give it another go. Hey, do it. Do it, man. Coloring this book and oh yeah. Awesome. I think it goes something like, oh, let me look at a reference for Bug. He's always bugs me. Oh, hey, I jumped from 1.63 thousand to 1.6 thousand subscribers. Thank you, guys. Great to support. Awesome. All right. I'm gonna put that white part on top of his hand for no, I don't know what reason it's there, but it's there, I guess. Okay. There we go. Then of course, okay, yeah, I knew it would be down. All right. Bring him up a little bit down. Okay. Because this guy kind of has starting literally from the body. Okay. Right? Of course, we're going to have the some of them ribs. Around. Gives me some kind of guidance to what I'm going to have later there. This pencil is really good for shading. But when I get to detailing, it's something else. Drawing a bunch of details now. Shading, of course, determining. Lighting is important. Everything is important, really, when you're planning this stuff. And kind of planning the whole wrapping there. Have a light kind of shining more like this right here, and then straight down, kind of more like at him a little bit. A little bit more sense here. And it comes down. Okay. For me, trying to figure out this kneecap here, guys. Biting me. This is what when I start doubting myself, everything's just kind of start turning in a different direction. Yeah, there. Too much of this. Do that. Like a lighter gray since it is bent. Still trying to keep the human element in there and make it look right as the fight scene. And doubting yourself, checking yourself is okay. I find it to be helpful most of the time. Sometimes I find myself frustrated with it and tear a bunch of things into pieces. And healthy as it is, for me, it is very helpful. Okay. Built up one of them anyway. 4.5. So that defines kind of the shadow, as you can see, is mostly made of that black goo kind of thing. Symbiotes, whatever. You can always get a little more shading done. Kind of helps me give them little textures, muscles. And show where the light is. This is a fun drawing. I'm not trying to make it more or less anything crazy that like I'm gonna ink or something. If I do in this piece, I'm most likely gonna do a light table that I have right here on the right. So and then erase the lines here. I know that's light. Where I get a little funky. Play with muscle structures. Like, let me come in a little bit. Hello from Brazil. What's up? Obrigado for being here. Thank you. Thank you. So as you can see, that's what it looks like right now. You know, nothing. Hopefully you didn't use too much. Yeah, it's this right here just gives me a chance to kind of work out some more textures, give it a little more gritty details. And then when I ink, you know, it's going to be a whole lot of different things that I can do with the inks to even polish it even further. Ask questions, guys. You know, if you have questions about regarding whatever I've been talking about today, you know, legs mostly. If you have anything else you want to ask me about, you know, what I do approach wise and just something. You watch it, you know, give me thumbs up, something, say some, comment, ask question. I'm usually pretty good about answering. So if I was, one thing I was going to touch on is that if I was going to draw this for a cover, and I'm going to ink the same pencil, such as I'm not using different paper to ink on. I'm just going to use this pencil drawing for inking as well. Most likely would be using H lead or harder to make the drawing a bit lighter. So just want you all to know that, you know, I approach sometimes things differently. Most of the time this is my H lead. All right. There you go. Faber-Castell Velvet Drawing 880H. Love these pencils. No eraser, but they're great. They're really light. All right, really light. And don't smudge very much. But for studies, you know, or something I might ink on a different paper, I just go straight for darker pencil, you know, expressive, something more expressive. We're gonna give this muscle a little more layers, you know. Like it's, you know, has a little more striations in it. Doesn't it? It kind of makes it look more fun, a little more, you know. And like right here, I'm just gonna throw in a few more striations here. That muscle maybe just like twitching or really strained. Kind of like that. This guy is sleeping out. Not gonna cover a lot with shadow. This light's gonna kind of hitting right around here, rather than on top. About an hour now. Nice. All right, let me go ahead and sketch out this. So, follow the foot. Make it to look the right angle. Here we go. Have to shrink it a little because it's kind of comes a little more forward. All right. Okay. From what I know, it's mostly arbitrary here. Just got to get thinner here, thinner back. And here's where I'm going to get nasty, expressive. All kinds of teeth. Teeth, you know, teeth, yeah. More teeth than he needs, you know. There we go. Sorry, dead air, but you know, get into these details. It's you get kind of taken aback, taken away, you know. And as I'd explain to a lot of my students, if pretty much all of them, from junior high to high school, I said that what makes your figure or face, whatever you're shading or drawing, look three-dimensional is definitely the shading. It's not lines that you've drawn, or it's the shading. So. And placing the right shadows, right values into the right places. Otherwise, you know, you can shade it without purpose and it's going to look flat and same. there are places for that. There are situations where you do want to make it flat and all that. But if you want to give it a good realistic look, spend more time on shading. What I have so far anyway. It can also be I love getting lost in the tiny details. Isn't that nice, right? Real nice. Me too, man. But, you know, not to forget about the bigger picture still. One can get lost, but it's just that, you know, conversation gets lost too. But when you're getting lost in the small detail and forget about the big picture, and some things sometimes turn out wrong. And that's all right. You can always fix it. And it's just not being lazy to erase it, or don't get too annoyed by it and just back in the day I made a lot of bad art just because I felt like, yeah, it looks fine. I put in so much time to it. It looks fine. It looks good. But, you know, it really wasn't that great. So now I take time. Oh, where I went wrong here. See, I go wrong, I fix it. All right. So his chest can be afraid to erase. That's right. Like Frank Cho says, if it's right, it's right, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. That's right. So his chest's going this way, but then we have a twist here, right? He has the center point turning a little bit. His body is twisting back. This way here, this way here. So that means this will happen. Anybody watched any episodes of Invincible yet? This last season? I've seen the first two so far, and not disappointed. Looks it's holding up really well. The story. Then the rest of the chest kind of flies out that way. So here we go here. I'm gonna do this here. I like to really just fade it all in and then something like that. Build off of that. Come along nicer. Sorry guys, my camera, I can't set up my camera very well without shaking it constantly if I put it straight on here. And it makes it horrible for me to draw, so. I'd rather be comfortable. I learned in my old age. Haha. I'm not young, not anymore. So I'd rather be comfortable. Give this a little bit less light here. Lamp doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. A bit less light, maybe. Do you keep track of your comics digitally or hard copy? I do hard copy all the time. I buy them. Started and stopped with digital several times, but I found a great app to scan and catalog. It's called Den of Comics. Great app. I'm writing it down right now. Den of Comic Geeks. Thanks for that. I appreciate that, Dennis, man. I'm gonna check that out. I'll start cataloging my stuff. But yeah. Show you what I got. These guys. That's my haul. Boba number one. Real nice piece. So I can't wait to read it. And then, McFarlane cover for Battle Beast. I'll buy them to read, so I don't really care if it's cover A, cover whatever. I just buy the covers I like. So if I ever get him to sign it, maybe. But yeah. Brush. Okay. You guys a little bit more here. When I do this, I usually just make sure I go along the line of the muscle group itself. Then when it comes to the spot of shadow or light bouncing, I kind of go wrap around it, pointing towards it. Let me see if you guys can see this a little bit better. See? That's what gives it that texture look of light. Yeah, of course, to make it darker, just go in different directions slightly. But the trick is to make it look more uniform. Is that if I layer, I guess we're discussing some shading technique. And Frank Cho says this, or kind of talks about this too. All right. So if I'm gonna, especially in inking, he's gonna go this way. He's gonna stay this way across everything, from what I've seen. Okay, and then if you're gonna go like there's two groups of muscles going along the same way, and you want to make them darker the same way, make sure when you layer over the same direction. Because if you start going different direction or just random, it makes things look a little awkward and kind of disorganized. That's why your eye is catching. Like, oh, that just kind of looks terrible. Well, that's because you started the shade in the wrong direction. So if I went diagonally this way, I'm going to go same way over here. Yeah, I run into that one. Okay. Hope that makes sense for everybody. Nice. I only care on the covers if it's a Finch or Gist paint cover. Yeah. Gist's Werewolf by Night covers are, yeah, they're sweet, man. Man, his Moon Knights are inspired me to paint one. I had fun with that. So this is mine. Humble little process, guys. All right, let's work on the bit of texture here. Let's finish the hand first, right? Goes down. It goes down this way there. Pardon me, something like this. And once you kind of place things, and you know, you don't like something, change it. If it seems to be wonky out of perspective or whatever, out of like things that you notice that's supposed to look real in real life or whatever, and if you don't want it to look that way, on certain things you can get away with that. But when it comes to hands, arms, whatever, and if it's humanoid, yeah, you want to live with the. So there would be the light right here. So wrap the shadow around the circle. If it's a circular shape, for example, the head. Do that first, kind of gives you the roundness. Then start working on what is important. Like start fading out into dark. Right? Creating little extra details. I'm liking this one. And let's go back to talking a little bit about rough sketching. So doing rough sketches, and as many as I did, so this one drawing, I suggest you guys spend in this time and like build a little library of like the characters you want to draw, you like to draw, and draw a bunch of different rough sketches of poses, just poses, small, tiny, little one. Now, this sketchbook I have is tiny. Next to 11 by 17 here, but I don't know, tiny. Okay, so about 9 by 12 paper here, 5 by something, 5 by 5, 5 by 5 square, and kind of start throwing some ideas down in there. Get yourself going with pocket full of ideas. So if you ever come up with like it's like, hey, I want you to draw me this. You're like, here's an idea I had. Like do that one, and if not, you can use that idea to derive the idea they spoke of, and kind of use that pose and incorporate it in a commission, say, you want to do, you're being commissioned to. So try to help yourself. Always doing some sketches, rough ideas. I love doing those. I have a really good advice from another great artist, Yuko Smith, and talked about how you like that, rough idea really, really a lot better than what drawing is coming out. Just try to use it and, trace it over, print it out, trace it over. So it's already your drawing. You're just going to have to refine it anyway. So just refine it in a bigger form, after you kind of used it to outline. So you have the idea already, of course. Shorten some of these T's, I feel like. Doesn't need them so aggressive. All right, and then I have here that we had talked about the twist of the body. So the abs, as shrunk as they are, because the body turned downwards. These guys, I'd be and just adding details, the striations and muscles, and leading up to the abs. There it is. Okay, that's the basic fix here. in the new Red Sonja movie? Yes, I have, and I was a bit disappointed. No, it wasn't best. No. I was like, okay, the budget was low. Oh. And then, once you kind of figured out this, you can start working, figure it out. The rest, how you're gonna have a shadows. And for example, he's made of stone, so I'm gonna have to try make it look like, pieces of stone, cracks. And rest of the details, of course, just to play with. And then shadow, of course, shadows pretty much way, because something like that, because shining down this way. Even more. Once again, when you try to draw a superhero villain thing, whatever, and wanted to kind of make it look cooler, or if it's an alien, once it says alien, you kind of have a whole different set of rules to play by, which means you not really have too many rules. Um, you can draw all kinds of things off the wall, and not worry about, oh, I didn't do that right, but it's just say, oh, it's an alien, so I can do that. And like here, there's some human um, attributes that he has. However, you can always play with the muscle groups and things like that. Like, you don't necessarily need to adjust or be perfectly like human. You can add more. That's the thing I like about it. Drawing aliens, creatures, or alien creatures, kind of, play with what you got here. Rough sketch. And then you say, ooh, there's gonna be a bouncing light off of this statue. Okay, that adds this to it. That's what gives it. If you stand on something that's bright and the sun shining and the light shining, you can play with the lighting. Have a nice little. Just remember to place the darkest value right next to it and fade out. That's gonna give you that. Then we have back to the Venom's always a lot of fun to draw. I don't say it's as fun as Lobo or Judge Dredd. For me, those two are the two main dudes to draw. Female characters, I don't know. Probably Wonder Woman. Not sure who would be the second. Female characters to draw, but I do enjoy drawing that Wonder Woman. Any variation, absolute or not. Better Venom. Hey, thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, he's turning out pretty good. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with him. Sorry, guys. Once again. Oh, thanks, Paul. Appreciate that, man. I'm trying to answer in details, and I'm not talking too much. Sorry, guys. But like I said, ask questions, man. Shoot some questions. I'll try to answer. I have something to talk about to you. Um, Other than that, I'm just touches here and there on Bad Boy. In terms of being favorite Venom artist, if I was to pick one, like unsolicited opinion, I've seen some superb drawings by Art Adams, and I think I have some studies of Venom's hand done by Adams. It's just, yeah, I believe it was Art Adams. I don't think I was wrong. Looking at them, so good. But there are a lot of cool artists drawing Venom. I can't name anybody really. The art, guys, I don't pay attention to this, and I'm like, oh, that's way cool. I'll probably look into the details as like who the artist, but I'll be probably like kicking myself because I didn't look it up earlier. Somebody probably I know heard of, popular artists. So. All right, so let's push in. That's okay. You have you're in the zone. Yeah, thanks. A little close up for you guys here. I don't know if the angle is right, but here you go. A little Venom here. All right, guys. So I'm gonna kind of sign it here. It's a stream. And I do appreciate you guys all stopping by, us, chatting about the legs and doing the little prelim before starting this drawing, and then doing a little pencil rendering of this Venom. I really enjoyed this. And I will. Everything goes well. I will see you next Friday on my solo show. Back to Fridays because this week was super busy. Friday night, 8 p.m. I'll be here, sketching again. I think we're gonna talk about more of an arm structure. So I might be drawing somebody with like maybe half kind of torso and head and arms, body, figure rather than the entire. See you, Paul. And see you tomorrow, guys, at the group stream that we do on Sundays at Nerdy Musings. And that'll start about 7 p.m. Central, I think. So 8 p.m. Eastern. So appreciate you guys all stopping by here, checking this out. Watch it again if you feel like it anytime. And like, subscribe, whatever it is, things we need to do to help each other out. And I will see you guys later.